We are living in Superman's inverse world. I feel like we're back to normal. Everything you see in the news, everything you hear and read is the world is an Armageddon. And possibly it is. Who knows? Right? I mean, what do I know? But what I'm seeing here just in San Jose, not the other cities or counties or just today, what we're seeing is we're back to normal. We're reaching past last year's normal or reduction. Last year we started seeing the reduction or the contraction, and now we're seeing it come. We're popping back out. The median price across the United States is back. Housing shortage is still an affliction. Housing affordability is still out there, and it's not just San Jose or California. It's the entire United States, and I dare say the entire world. Our population, I think what we're seeing here, and it's not the homeless. That's a totally different thing. It's affordability, right? There's a small portion of the homeless people that are out there that can't afford housing. I understand that. There's another portion of them that are focused on being on drugs or 5150 or whatever affliction. There's people out there that are homeless that want to work and want to make a decent living. It's just really difficult. I see it every day. I understand the problems. So let's talk about the three things we need to, or you need to know today on that. We already talked about Superman's inverted thing. We're back on track, and I'll show you the numbers in a minute. So stay tuned. It's nearly impossible to buy a house unless today you buy it overpriced. Now, roughly speaking, I want to say 40, 61, 69. Oh yeah, 69. 70% of the houses last week that closed went for over list price, right? And we're seeing this as a trend all the way through. Let's just call it 80%. I mean, let's just call it 65%, right? To be conservative. But these numbers right here, right here that I'm showing you, let me break this out so you can see it even bigger. These numbers that I'm highlighting on row 32, pretty consistently over the last couple months have been around 70, 68, 70%, right? Those are houses that closed that got offers over list price. Now, well, what do you mean by over list price? Well, it could be 17%. Let's see where this lands real quick. Yeah, 17%, like this one. We had one yesterday that was 42.7% or something like that, all the way to 0.004% over list price. And I called that at 28, right? So those numbers make sense. Average price is 14 days on market. Average price last week was 16, 14. We're seeing these are from last year. We're already past the contraction point. We're headed back into the market. Sorry, let me get back in here so you can see me. No, you don't need to see me. So we're completely inverted. We're back, and it's not because the market's back. I think this is still artificial compared to the fact that we don't have enough houses on sale. It's just because supply is down, right? Everybody says that we're in a slump. We're not in a slump. Houses are still selling at a fast clip per group of units. Let's just call it percentage-wise, or per 100 houses that are sold, they're all selling really fast. We just don't have enough supply. Now, these are the units sold all the way up to June of last year. And you'll see that the markers are down, but that's only because the supply is down. That's the problem. People that have bought a house at 2%, even though it's not their favorite house, they're going to keep it forever, or you can't afford it because if it's if you're paying 2%, then you're paying 2%. If you're paying 3%, you're paying 3%. Right now, you would be foolish to refinance, right? That's what I'm saying. Don't refinance your house. I know my lender guys that are watching this right now are going to yell at me all day long about this, but here's the truth. You should never. Okay, it's the truth according to Vito, right? Don't. There's a couple different schools of thoughts on this, and I keep on reiterating this. You shouldn't refinance your house because let's say you're in your house for 7 years. Well, you've already paid the majority of interest, right? And then you have to pay the lender to refinance the house and call that 3%, 2%, whatever, right? If it's $1 million loan, that's $20,000 that you're going to have to pay. Well, the ROI on that, plus the savings, it's just doesn't math out right yet. Mostly because we're at 7% versus the 2%. But let's just say we went back to normal. It was at 4.5% or 5%, even 5.5%. Going down from 5.5% to 4.5% makes sense when you've only had the loan maybe a year or two. But once you're at the 5-year mark, it just doesn't make sense to refinance unless you absolutely have to. You're broke. You need the money. Whatever reasons, right? There's reasons for you to do it. They're less than conservative. So there are reasons for you to refinance your house. I'm not saying that. There's also reasons for you to take out a home equity line and hold it there just in case. Let's just say that, knock on wood, God forbid, I break my leg and I can't work. Well, I have a home equity line on top of my savings, on top of my 401k, on top of all these other buckets that I have that as a safety net just in case I need the money to pull out to live, right? Because if I can't live, if I'm not making money, then I have to, right? That's what it is. I'm not over leveraged. Will the housing market crash? Boy, I tell you what, it possibly could in different areas. Let's just say like St. Louis. I'm not picking on St. Louis, or let's say, Indianapolis or Jacksonville or Springfield, which every state has a Springfield. Depends on the economy, depends on what's going on there, depends on how many people are moving in, how many people are moving out, depends on the economy, depends on the industries that are serving that or that are being served by that city. It really depends on a lot. I think what we're going to see is it's not going to be a national thing. It'll be it'll be smaller towns being afflicted faster and more normally because there's just not enough. But we also have the downward pressure of big corporations buying houses, right? If you look at certain cities, BlackRock and all these other big corporations they're buying 20-30% of the inventory, which also leads to higher prices. Is that good and healthy? I don't think it is. My thing is, if you're going to have a government regulate something, you have to regulate it so it's in favor of the people, not for corporations. I get it. You're a corporation. You have a duty to show profits for your stakeholders and stockholders. I understand that. But at the end of the day, the market probably won't crash, even if we go into an economic downturn, because corporations, investment hedge funds, BlackRock, Vanguard, all these, and like Bezos is buying up, and Bezos and Gates and all these other big billionaires, they're buying up billions of dollars worth of housing inventory, making it more difficult for us to be homeowners. So I don't think it's a thing where the market will prop up artificially for a long time until we push these big money, the big money, let's just call it, out of the industry. We forbid them to do it, or you have to have maybe a buyer buy the house first, or give them first priority. I don't know what the The answer is because there's so many different sneaky ways to doing this, right? You can get a straw buyer. If I was BlackRock, I'd hire a bunch of straw buyers and say, "Hey, go buy these houses, and we'll give you a little nudge every time you buy something. And then you sell it to us, we'll give you a little bit of profit." So it's unfair for a lot of these big corporations to do that, and it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop unless we do something about it. All right, financial intelligence. I'm slated to see or talk to somebody tomorrow about financial intelligence. We already had our first one. This thing is about really helping people understand the economics of owning a house or saving for the future or buying retirement, things you should do, shouldn't do, how much insurance should you buy, home insurance or health insurance, all that kind of stuff. So we're getting into that. Okay, let's talk about the numbers. Oh, wait, first, real estate. Look at that. Boy, I tell you, people do some really crazy stuff. I mean, if you think about this, there we go. There we go. Look at that. I see this all the time, guys. I see this all the time. It's ridiculous. Anywho, let's get back to the numbers. By the way, if you do want to see the numbers, I have these available. I can grab them for you anytime. I'm not saving them anymore. I can just go back and dig them out. And they're not going to be 100% the same, but they'll be close, right? So median price is creeping back up. Remember, peak out at June was I want to say it was 420 at one time, but then they corrected it down to 416. And now I can tell you specifically that they dropped that down to like 413, I believe, at our peak. Yeah, 413, which was June. Now we're coming back up and we're back to 410. Hallelujah. Wow, I got to change that. 410. Look at that. National Home Price Index is 301. Days to sell over time count. Santa Clara County is 17 compared to our 14, right? On average, it's 21, right? So it's coming down. These are monthly nuggets. So that was for June. Our absorption rate for Santa Clara County is 0.9 across the entire United States is 3 months. So it's telling you inventory is down, right? Housing inventory active. This should be about 1 million. Let's see if I can show you this number real quick. See, this should be the normal. If we went back out, I always mess this up. Okay, so we'll get out of that. I'll set that up next week. Right now we only have what is it? 700 something houses for sale active. Santa Clara County will have 791. It needs to be twice that. We're at 60% of where we're supposed to be. We do have houses that are sitting on market, overpriced, condition for the market, etc. We can look at that one day if you want. You can give me a call. We can go through it. I'm happy to do a video with you on it. 90 days is going up just a tad bit. REOs, bank-owned properties, just in the Bay Area, 10 county Bay Area is 28. It's nothing. REOs is not even a blip right now. We used to have over 1 million in the United States. Now we're down to maybe 100,000. It's 10% of what it was back in 2008. Okay, so these are active. Actual MLS feed active for San Jose, single family homes. This is realtor.com. This is actual MLS feed, San Jose proper, just to give you numbers. These numbers right here are based on this right here on the realtor.com. So take that with a grain of salt. Closes last week we had 72. Closes last year. This is where I'm telling we're inverse, right? Last year we had 69, but it gets crazier. Average sales price last week was 1.7. Last year it was 1.5. Remember, I told you the market contracted. The argument is the market contracted, and a lot of sellers denied that. So what happens? We had a lot of more houses going on market or staying on market a lot longer, right? This number's dropped considerably. This number's dropped considerably because the market is sucked back up. Not every house is going to sell, mostly because hubris, ego of the seller. The seller decides, hey, my house is worth 10% more than what the market's willing to demand, and they're not willing to sell lower than that. Well, then we're wasting everybody's time, right? Because you, as a buyer, know what the value of a house is worth. And if a house is sitting on market for 90 plus days, there's something wrong with it, whether it's whether it's condition, price, or market condition, right? It's totally different. So there you go. Okay. Last year's list price to sales price ratio was 100. Today it's 106. This last week. On average, we're 101. Now the average for last year was 112 because we're looking backwards. Remember, we were still in the firestorm all the way until April. So keep that in mind. These numbers will go inverse, but day to day, we're seeing these numbers are inverted now, right? 3 months ago, these numbers were different. They were flipped. Now we're back to an increase in the market. Last year's days on market was 19. Days on market today or this week is 14. Again, those numbers will invert. All right, there you go. Cool. All right. That's it. I'm Vito. That's it for now. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the U.S. inventory watch, talk about the inventory being low here in San Jose. It's low everywhere. We'll talk more about that. And what else are we going to talk about? I don't know. There's going to be some kind of crazy news come up. I'm sure we'll talk about that.